right, everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Jordan Report, and I am your host, Robert Jordan. Everyone, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Okay, guys, let's take a look at Zuckerberg and Facebook. And let me go into a little background real fast. Because about 10 years ago, a lot of young people may not know this, but about 10 years ago, Facebook was actually in the business of overthrowing governments. They overthrew, we know, two governments. One was Tunisia, and the other was Egypt. You have to look this up. I'm going to show you a clip on the Egypt revolution. In fact, they actually nicknamed Egypt's revolution the Facebook revolution because it was all done on Facebook. Now, this is why it is important to know this about Zuckerberg, because Zuckerberg understands the power of these platforms, and he's trying to get out ahead of it. Mark Zuckerberg, lockdown protests are misinformation. Facebook will ban organizers. He's banning the organizers that are showing up in their state capitals over this coronavirus lockdown. He's banning them, just like the third world tyrants would do. And I'm going to show you a clip as to he knows why he's doing this. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says that posts and pages attempting to organize protests against stay-at-home orders will be banned as misinformation. The Facebook CEO confirmed that the post will be banned to ABC's George Stephanopoulos on a segment of Good Morning America. Stephanopoulos asked Zuckerberg how the company deals with the fact that Facebook is now being used to organize a lot of these protests to devise social distancing guidelines in the states. If somebody's trying to organize something like that, does that qualify as harmful misinformation? A leading question. We do classify that as harmful misinformation, and we take that down, confirmed Zuckerberg, while at the same time saying that it's important that people can debate policies. How are you going to debate a policy if you can't protest? What's the good of that? A Facebook spokesman confirmed to CNN that planned protests in California, New Jersey, and Nebraska were having their pages removed from Facebook at the request of the state authorities. I told you, we're in the third world. That's what tyrants do. This comes after President Trump gave his support to the protesters in several states who are demonstrating against his governor's stay-at-home orders, including a 3,000-strong protest in Lansing, Michigan. Michigan protesters have used Facebook to organize. On Twitter, the president called on protesters to liberate the states of Michigan, Minnesota, and Virginia, and calling on Virginia citizens to save your great Second Amendment. It's under siege. Okay, I'm going to show you this clip of a little bit of history, and this will give you a background as to what he's trying to get ahead of.
These stones on a Cairo street spelled out a much more powerful weapon. Reading in Arabic, "We are the men of Facebook." In fact, following its pivotal role in Egypt, Facebook pages and Twitter groups are now popping up in at least 10 countries across the Middle East and North Africa, rallying anti-government sentiment from Morocco and Algeria to Syria and Bahrain.
The internet has had a coming of age in this uprising in Egypt.
And foreign governments are trying to catch up.
Those who clamp down on internet freedom may be able to hold back the full expression of their people's yearnings for a while, but not forever.
This afternoon, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton called free access to the internet a fundamental human right.
We believe that governments who have erected barriers to internet freedom will eventually find themselves boxed in.
In Egypt, Facebook, Twitter, and Google mobilized crowds and sparked a revolution. That put pressure on not just the government, but on the social media companies themselves, which could lose millions in future business.
They're walking a tightrope between the freedoms that they mean to uphold, but also the local laws where they don't want to be too associated with the kinds of uprisings that might result in them getting kicked out of the country.
And there are questions about whether America has a double standard. Today, prosecutors for the Justice Department were pushing Twitter to release confidential information in the WikiLeaks case.
WikiLeaks does not challenge our commitment to internet freedom. The WikiLeaks incident began with an act of theft. Government documents were stolen.
With a third of humanity online, about 2 billion people, there's a new struggle to determine boundaries, where they simply do not exist. Seth Doane, CBS News, New York.
Okay, guys, this is what Zuckerberg's worried about. He knows those crowds can be 3,000 today, and 30,000 tomorrow, and 300,000 the next day. That's how large these platforms can be and the damage they can do. They overthrew several governments in the Middle East. So Zuckerberg's just trying to get out of the way. He's being smart.